Welcome back, X-Fam, to another recap video for Reincarnation Coliseum. Before we begin, let me give a huge shout out to JustZilla on Twitter for telling me about the Raw chapter that just released. Now, this came out on like the 6th, and normally monthly chapters come out on the 9th. That's normally when I see it, but I'm so glad that it came early, and I try to get a video out to you like immediately, but there was just so much going on with me in the meantime. Other than that, let me also mention that there's going to be new characters being introduced, and their names may not be 100% accurate with me, but we shall see when the official translation come out, which take about 2-3 weeks, depending on how hard the translators are working. But without further ado, let's jump right into chapter 21. Things start off in the Coliseum by introducing a new announcer who will be hosting the upcoming tag match. Her name translates to Momo, and she comes across as another Gyaru type cat like her senpai Coco. The reason she's calling this match is because Coco caught a cold, but sends her best wishes to her replacement. She's not one without faults, as the crowd tells her to do her best as the number 2 announcer. Now this sets her off. You can probably tell there's a rivalry between the two announcers when it comes to being the crowd's number 1. From there, we move to introducing the participants for today's match. First up is the weakest skill copy user with an undefeated streak, Koji Mikigami, sporting a new look as he enters. The crowd wonders if this is a new type of gear as they talk among themselves. He also appears to have a hand imprint across his cheek, which means he may be using the same tactic like he did with Mary before this match begins. The next fighter to enter is his tag team partner and former Heavenly King superhuman martial art user Marl Barak. As she walks in behind Mikigami, she is seen sporting a new outfit that appears to be much more revealing than the last. This new outfit causes a stir amongst the crowd, which caused nosebleeds and lecherous eyes. They believe just looking at her is entertaining enough, and Mikigami told her to wear it. Mikigami thinks to himself that his slaves are changing outfits on their own accord since he doesn't force them, as Marl steps in to say that he is truly amazing. As she hypes him up, she gives herself a boost by declaring that she's the same and that they will claim victory on this day. With her fist raised high toward the crowd, she looks back at Mikigami confidently to calm his nerves as the panel shift back a bit to some days before the match. In this room, known as the training grounds, Mikigami states it's time to begin Marl's special training. Suzu asks if they could undo the ropes to participate, but her request is denied. Mikigami states that Suzu could possibly send a clone to Musashi and leak information, but she declines the intention. She pleads to him to trust her as she is Mikigami's slave now, but he just smiles at her words and tells Mary to keep watch over her. Much to Mary's delight and Suzu's distress, we move from there as they start talking about the special training. Mikigami mentions that when he was with Mary, she gradually got stronger, but things are different with Marl. Wondering what he means, Marl says there was a little difference gained because she's already reached the peak of her abilities. Moving on to explain how the buff skill works for Marl and himself, Mikigami says that once he gets used to it, they can start doing combination training like he did with Mary. Marl gets excited at the idea since it means her and Mikigami will be using multiple techniques that resemble tag team wrestling moves, but this turned out to be all in her head. Mikigami's copy skill cuts her 5+ buff skill in half, which makes it a 2.5 buff skill. Marl can give somebody a 5+ buff only once, but can buff herself twice, making her max 10. In short, Mikigami will be testing a 7.5 buff skill with clones in the meantime and make changes when needed. Suzu wonders if her cloning ability was the only reason she was brought to the training ground, but Marl interjects casually that she'll do anything since her and Mikigami are the strongest team. This causes a stir among the other slaves as Mary, Fine, and even Suzu believe they are strong too. With that going on, Zulu can be seen thinking to herself that without Alice around, there's no point in making that claim. Zulu eventually asks who they'll be facing this time, but Mikigami says nothing is clear just yet. Both Fine and Mikigami think of the possibilities, but after scouting the slave market in town, no one can compete with Marl. The panel shifts back to the Coliseum, and Mikigami reveals that his new jacket isn't just for show. Under it hides gear and antidotes for problems he may encounter as the crowd continues to hype the match up. A noble and Desmos look on as the announcer, Momo, introduces the challengers. A buff man enters with a huge smile. He is known as the iron-blooded hero Alexandros, and behind him is his partner known as Chris. This is their first official match, and the crowd shifts from being stunned to an uproar upon hearing his name. Many of the bettors head to the clerk, hoping to cancel their bets, but everything is already set. On the sidelines, Zulu and Mary cheer them on before Marl tells Mikigami that the match is about to begin. She steps in front of Mikigami and uses her buff skill, then charges at Alexandros. Seeing her reaction, Alexandros charges at her as well until they clash. With them both appearing equal, Mary, Zulu, Mikigami, and Momo seem stunned, while Desmos looks on with satisfaction. Marl is seen knocked high in the air until she catches her balance on a foothold above them. Alexandros sees this and compliments her for being able to withstand his hit. He goes on to say that just like him, she appears to be superhuman as an aura clings to his body. As Marl comes down, she asks why did a noble and soldier like himself come to the Coliseum. Surprised that she spoke to him, Alexandros makes the comment that it's his first time hitting something that still resembled a human and can hold a conversation. It's such a refreshing feeling, but enough wasting time, he says. Let's continue the fight as he takes a stance. Marl accepts the invitation and clashes with Alexandros on a huge scale. As both are knocked back, Mikigami notices the other opponent, Chris, healing him from afar. Marl takes a heavy blow to the face and he answers her question from earlier, honestly this time. He too became a slave so that he can defeat her. The crowd is shocked that he became a slave for such reasons. Marl even responds if he's making fun of her. She mentions that he is a noble, soldier, and head of his family, but he cuts her off by stating he has other reasons for being here. The most important thing is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to fist fight someone on equal ground. They both grin at each other with that in mind before trading blows as the match continues on. Shockwaves can be felt in the Coliseum as Mikigami makes his way to the healer. Alexandros tells Marl that it was expected that her master would do that before kneeing her in the gut. He stands tall and mentions that in this fight, they have no chance of winning. In the next panel, Mikigami can be seen having trouble with the barrier a terrified Chris surrounds herself in. He doesn't understand why the level buff isn't destroying the barrier when it could crush it easily. The problem seems to lie elsewhere in its defense capabilities. Marl is seen still fighting and being healed as Mikigami constantly uses the healing skill he copied from Chris on her, but he needs to do something about this barrier. Copying Alexandros' buff skill may be a solution, but he can't do it unless the big guy himself switches his attention to him. He realizes his enemy understands his copy skill and is ignoring him on purpose. Mikigami summarizes that his 7.5 buff skill will likely get him killed fighting Alexandros one-on-one, but in order to copy his skill, he must be acknowledged as his enemy. Defeating the healer serves no purpose as he won't be able to recover after, so it's best to ignore her for now. That said, right now he has no options since he never predicted a former noble and soldier to be at the Coliseum. The things he brought won't likely help as a countermeasure in this situation as the match continues. As the chapter ends in despair, he wonders what to do from here as Marl can be seen in a struggling position against Alexandros. Now, this chapter had a lot going on, and I do mean that story-wise. First, we have a well-known soldier hit rock bottom, which led to him participating in the Coliseum. Next, we have Marl being familiar with this noble, and lastly, he is a superhuman buff skill user just like her. I'm sure there are a lot of questions many of you have, but we will get the answers in the backstory for them in chapters to come. Mikigami will think of a way to handle it like always, but this is a brawler versus brawler type match, and that's Mikigami's worst matchup. It's always been that way. Remember, the only reason he beat Marl was because of the aphrodisiac trick. I highly doubt someone of Alexandros' caliber is going to fall for something like that, aphrodisiac, but not even just that, even be fooled to let him get his skill copied by acknowledging him. So it's going to be a little bit different this time around. I do want to address that Marl is the only one we haven't really got a backstory on. We've got things like Mary is a noblewoman warrior who turned down arranged marriages. Alice was most likely a daughter of a noble with an all-girls fan club. Fine is a relative of Zaid. Suzu is a Kunoichi servant to samurai of the Eastern Continent. But there was never anything said about Marl. Like, only thing we knew is that she punches things and she breaks things. Like, that's really all we got for Marl. But speaking of, I want to talk a bit about her outfit as well. I didn't get to talk about it earlier as in the video, but we could talk about it now since we're close to the end. Her new outfit, there's not much of a difference on the backside. I mean, her cheeks are out and that is what it is, but we're gonna like kind of do a little comparing with her old design and her new design. So her original outfit, as you know, featured wrapped arm and leg bandages with compression sleeve accessories. The front was closed to cover her nipples, but the side of the fabric exposed her cleavage, so you got a little side boob action in that. A few straps are in place to hold the fabric together around the chest area to complete the outfit. Marl's new outfit is more revealing and similar to her slave attire. Like, it looks almost like her slave attire, but well put together compared to the slave attire. The slave attire is kind of like raggedy, but the new attire is kind of like well made. So I don't know how the hell she even like got money to like change outfits when she's a slave, but maybe Mikigami has something to do with that. It is what it is. Multiple straps hold the top and midriff sections, and it's more exposed. Like in the breast area, it's way more exposed in the breast area, as you can tell from, you know, the panels that I did show. She now sports a long scarf as if she was a ninja. She now wears fingerless gloves as well instead of the bandage wraps, and has black tapings all wrapped around her arms and legs and exposing the skin more. So really, which one do you like more? Do you like the new outfit or do you like the old outfit? I'm kind of a fan of both. I do love the original outfit, but something on the new one is really looking good to me. And it's not because it's more skin, because I love like the skin outfits anyway, but something about the new outfit just looks cool in a way. It's lewd, but it's cool. It could be the damn scarf that really sets it off, but I don't know. Anyway, I know you're tired of, you know, hearing me talk about this. This was a pretty damn long video, and I'm glad I could entertain you guys again, like usual. Make sure you hit the like button, share, comment your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts on Marl and the new guy, or new opponents, I should say. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm gonna try to like answer your questions if I can. Subscribe like usual, and just keep up the good grind. I will see you guys next time in another video. I'll let your boy.